Hello and welcome back. We are moving along to our next lab activity. So we are on Thursday of week 3. This is the negative stain, lab 3.6, and the capsule stain, which is lab 3.9. So a couple staining days ago, we did our simple stain, and we talked about the simple stain working because the cells are negatively charged and the dichromogen molecules are positively charged. Well, in a negative stain, it's the opposite. Well, the cells are still negatively charged, but the chromogen is now also negatively charged. And so what happens is the cell repels that negatively charged dye molecule. So what we end up with is a dark staining background because the glass itself is charged, and so those negatively charged chromogens actually stick to the glass, leaving the cells unstained. So it's a really cool technique to allow you to see some features that you might not see when you have to heat fix and add stain onto the cell. It gives you a little bit more specific characteristics of the size and the measurements of the particular bacteria when you're just staining the background, leaving the cells clear. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the steps that's listed here on the back. So the dye that we use for the negative stain is not in our stain kits, right? So our stain kits have a certain collection. What we're going to be using are what's called the acidic dye. So remember, a basic stain was our positively charged chromogen. An acidic stain is our negatively charged chromogen. We're going to use nigrosin, which is a kind of a dark blackish purple stain. Okay, so we're going to get out your little paper towel. I'm going to get my clean slide. I've already cleaned all of these since you know how to do that already. Now this is a little bit different because we don't do the normal smear prep that we did for the simple stain and the gram stain. We're going to take our nigrosin, and you drop a drop of nigrosin on one side of the slide, not right in the middle. So you got a nice drop, again about the size of that drop of water that you did before. Maybe a little bit bigger because it's coming straight from the dropper bottle. Okay, so then you're going to get your bacteria. So I'll start my burner. Okay, flame my loop. I got my Enflei, working with the same critter today, all day. All right, so I flame my loop. I get my bacteria. Not flame my loop, flame the neck of the tube. Now I got my bacteria, and then I'm gonna mix my bacteria into that drop of nigrosin. So you mix and kind of tap and mix and tap. Okay, and then flame. All right, so that all is very similar. So here's where the difference comes in. You're gonna get a clean slide. It doesn't have to be washed, but if you've washed it, that's fine. And you're gonna use this as a spreader slide. So you can see in the instructions, it's showing you how to spread that, turn the burner off, how to spread that drop all the way across the surface of the slide. So that's what I'm gonna do here. I like to go from the middle, I go back into the drop, it goes across the surface, and it's just, and you can just spread it back and forth like a big spatula. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. So you're gonna have this nice black smear of nigrosin all the way over the surface of your slide. And then you just let that air dry. You don't do anything else with it. We don't have to heat fix. Once it's completely air dry, then you put it under the microscope and you'll get to see the dark background with the white cells. Okay, set that aside. Now I'm just gonna continue to move on into the next staining activity because it's very, very similar. So instead of posting another video, we're gonna do the capsule stain. So the capsule stain is lab 3.9. And it kind of starts off exactly the same way. It is a negative stain in that we're staining the background and leaving other parts unstained. But it has an additional step, and that we want to do is stain the cells too. So we're using both an acidic dye to stain the background, and then we're going to use a basic dye to stain the cells. And what we end up seeing is a dark background, dark cells, and unstained capsules. So this is a structural stain, and it's going to allow us to see which cells contain capsules. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through the steps that are on the back page here. So again, I have my clean slide, and I'm going to have my spreader slide because it's kind of like that negative stain. So again, this is a stain that's not in your normal set. This is called Congo Red. This is our acidic dye. So this is what's going to be staining the background. So we're going to start with that first, very much like we did with the nigrosin. 1 drop on the edge. Get my loop ready so I can grab my bacteria. Again, I'm going to use our friend M-Flea, even though I know it doesn't have a capsule, but we can use it for the procedure anyways. Okay, so now I have my bacteria. I'm going to mix it into my drop of Congo Red, just like we've done before. Mixy, mixy, mixy. Okay, flame your loop. All right, so for this one, again, we don't need to flame it, or we don't need to heat fix the slide, so that's why I turned my burner off. So here you have your spreader slide. Just like you did with the negative stain, you're going to spread this Congo Red bacteria mix all over the surface of your slide. Okay? So then you have to let that air dry. So if you have other slides you can work on, you can definitely do that. So when you air dry, right, you can kind of see I've got my big red smear. It's not going to cover the entire slide, but it'll cover most of it. So now what we've done at this step is we are staining the background, the Congo Red staining the background, and the cells are going to be unstained at this point. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we have another stain called Manival's, and Manival's stain is the basic stain. Okay, so we've just done this step here, right here. Nope, right here. We're air drying our smear across the stain. Then we're going to flood the stain with Manival's, and this is our basic dye. So it's the Manival's that's going to stain the entire slide. Or sorry, it's going to stain the cells. Now again, for purpose of like time, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. It's not completely air dry, so I might lose some of my stuff. So I'm going to put my Manival's completely over, and I might lose a lot of it. But you let that sit for a minute. And what's kind of cool is it will turn the red stain kind of a bluish purple color. So again, pretend that's a minute. In your instructions, I'll let that sit for a little bit longer while I do this. So in the instructions, it has you use like a rinsing jar. We don't have those, so I just recommend you do a very gentle rinse. Yeah, I kind of had I figured that was going to happen because I didn't let anything air dry. I lost all my stuff. But that's all right. At least you know the steps. And then you blot dry, and you can put that under the microscope. There's a few little spots in here. So if you follow the procedural diagram, you'll be good to go. So just as long as you let your Congo Red air dry, and then you do the Manival's, gently rinse, you'll have a beautiful dark stained background. You'll get to go up onto the oil immersion, see dark background, white capsules, and dark staining cells. All right, that's it for now. I will see you next time. Bye.